Welcome back to Fourth and Pain, the best pro wrestling show hosted by an NFL player and a weight loss champion. I am said weight loss champion Chuck Carroll on Twitter at the Chuck Carroll, 2 R's, 2 L's. He's Redskins defensive end Adam Carriker on Twitter at
Adam Carriker 94.
That's right. And the show itself, follow it on Twitter. Very important at Fourth and Pain. And why is it important? Because if you ask us a question, Adam, we guarantee you will get a response.
It doesn't matter when you ask, doesn't matter what you ask, within reason, you will get a response. And every week we are doing a new bit called the Fan Question of the Week.
That is right.
And there is a very good chance your question could be picked as the Fan Question of the Week, answered on the air, on the show, on Sunday morning.
And so for the inaugural Fan Question of the Week, we asked, recording this week's show, ask us football or wrestling question, whatever it is. We took the best one, and this week's question is from Mark Bodick. Follow him on Twitter at MarkBDK. He asks, which football player would make for the best wrestling manager? Not a wrestler, but the best wrestling manager. And you and I actually took time, we debated this, and we came to the conclusion it's not a player that would make the best manager. Players make good wrestlers, but coaches make great managers. Who is the best manager?
I mean, it's almost kind of too easy. You know, we were in unanimous agreement on this. Mr. Rex Ryan. I mean, who in the world, as far as NFL football coaches, would be a better wrestling manager than Rex Ryan? The dude will get you noticed. He would be great on the mic. He would get a huge reaction from the crowd. Look at the reaction he gets from the media. Nobody would be a better manager than Rex Ryan.
You clean up that language a little bit, and you got yourself television ratings gold. He already proved it once on Hard Knocks.
Why clean it up? Just go back to the Attitude Era, a la Stone Cold Steve Austin.
You know, it's only a matter of time before WWE hears this, and then what's going to happen? Some random Monday night, they're going to be in New York, maybe around WrestleMania time. Who comes out to the ring? Rex Ryan. That'd be so great. I would love to see him in a feud with his twin brother Bob.
Hey, what if we have this little debate going on with Mark Sanchez and T-Way. What if they had a match?
Oh.
What if they had a match?
Whose corner would he be in? Whose corner would he be in?
Who would he make? That's the question of the day. I didn't even think of that.
We could go all 12 minutes on that one. Holy Moses Malone.
Hey, that's my line.
I know,
stealing that.
Yeah, well, it's a good line.
Wow.
Yeah, a good line is a good line. So be sure to tweet us your questions at Fourth and Pain. Regardless of whether or not we answer it on the show, you will get a response 100% of the time on Twitter at Fourth and Pain. So with that, let's talk a little bit of pro wrestling. Another big week on Monday Night Raw. 2 things that I took away. 1, the completion of anger management for Kane and Daniel Bryan, which continues to be ratings gold for me. Television, it just delighted my eyes to see those 2 back in anger management. And just, I want to give Harold a hug. Poor Harold.
Poor Harold. He hit his head so hard. The ground is not soft.
And of course, the bigger thing is CM Punk and his evolution just continues to be working that heel angle so well at the top. And Chicago, his hometown where Raw was this past week, absolutely loves CM Punk, and he did not disappoint. And oh, by the way, who's in CM Punk's corner now?
That's the question. Is Paul Heyman kind of joining forces with CM Punk now?
We saw CM Punk just annihilate John Cena at the close of Raw, those 2 battling into the back. And it closes with CM Punk being driven out of the arena. The car stops, the tinted window rolls down, and there it is. Brock Lesnar's manager, Paul Heyman, is driving CM Punk out of the arena. So where is this going? Where is this angle going? It makes me wonder. Are Brock Lesnar and CM Punk somehow going to be in cahoots in the future? Or is it now Paul Heyman and CM Punk doing their own thing? How do you see this one playing out, prognosticator of the squared circle?
You know, I don't think Brock Lesnar is completely done with the WWE to begin with. I guarantee he comes back at least for a WrestleMania match against somebody. We even discussed the possibility of CM Punk and Brock getting together and facing John Cena and The Rock. The problem with that is The Rock and Cena last year was a one-time only thing. They made that perfectly clear. So that's most likely out the window. I'm going to say, Paul Heyman, he's pretty much joining forces with CM Punk. I'm sure he'll be in Lesnar's corner, whoever faces at WrestleMania, but I'm going to say that those two are joining forces.
That would be interesting. My concern, though, is that CM Punk is such a great mouthpiece. Like, one of his biggest assets is on the microphone. And Paul Heyman is equally as good on the microphone and serves a great purpose with a guy like Brock Lesnar, who needs help on the microphone. CM Punk doesn't need that help, so I'm a little bit concerned that Punk is going to lose a little bit of that thunder if Paul Heyman takes over that role.
I completely agree. I mean, to me, the best thing about CM Punk is his ability to speak his mind, drop the pipe bomb, if you will. He definitely doesn't need Heyman for that. So I'm not sure how it's going to play out. And maybe him and Brock, will hook up, in a tag team fashion. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, but I completely agree. Do not take that mic out of CM Punk's hand, please.
No, don't do it. But the cool thing about CM Punk, and the thing that I like, is that he's a guy who's just average in stature. He's not overwhelmingly large like a Kane, like a John Cena, the Mark Henrys, any of those really big muscle-bound guys with Rybacks, who I know that you're a big fan of. He's a regular guy, and I love the fact that WWE is giving a guy of his stature an opportunity to carry the belt. And the same thing with Daniel Bryan. These are guys that are largely unassuming if they walk down the street. Not to say that they're not in excellent physical condition, but they're not going to overwhelm you with their size. And I love the fact that WWE is giving this guy a chance to carry the belt, and for a significant amount of time, even though he's not the biggest guy on the roster. It gives an air of reality to an otherwise over-the-top world of pro wrestling.
Don't get me wrong. I am a big CM Punk fan. He's one of my favorite wrestlers. Probably one of my favorite heels of all time. I love, what he's able to do on the mic. He's very good in the ring. I just think it would help him, to maybe muscle up a little bit. I'm not saying he's got to be like, a Goldberg or a Brock Lesnar or anybody like that. I think, if there's an appearance that you work for the company instead of in the company, like maybe you're more of a businessman, obviously with the tattoos and stuff, he doesn't look like that, but I'm just saying his physical stature, I think it just helps a little bit more, because when you face someone like John Cena, who I've seen squat 500 pounds, 5 times like it's nothing, and deadlift 650, and then, he's facing CM Punk, who isn't anywhere near as defined. To me, that almost makes it unreal. Like, how can this guy legitimately compete with him if he's that, physically he can't do anywhere near what John Cena can do? So to me, it almost makes it a little bit unrealistic.
I'm sorry to hear you say that. I respect you. I respect you. You're my boy.
I can't wait to hear that.
But here's the thing. Here is why it's so great. Did you hear the reaction that CM Punk got last night or Monday night in Chicago? Do you hear the reaction that he gets every single Monday, regardless of where they are? The people love him or the people hate him. The bottom line is he's getting a reaction, and it's so much more entertaining to have a guy who has a realistic stature carrying the belt than it is to have any one of their giants on the roster actually carry the strap. Why? Because he is the common man. And as the common man, a people's champion, if you will, he is leading us into a new era of professional wrestling and a new era of athletics as a whole. Your days as a 6'6", 300+ pound guy are coming to an end. Usher in the era of us, the average man, the average champion, CM Punk. You get 2 thumbs up in my book. Don't even start that with me.
I'm sorry.
Don't even start that with me.
First of all, you're not average. You are as tall as my 3-year-old, and way about the same as my 1-year-old. I'm not average. I am behemothly large. I understand this. You are not average. You are midgetly, dwarfishly small.
Oh, come on.
So CM Punk would be the average, but he does get a huge reaction because he can speak, because he can wrestle, because he has that charisma. I'm not saying he doesn't have any of that. I'm just saying I think it would help. I think it would make it more realistic. He doesn't have to, deadlift 650. Just, get a little more definition or a little bit more mass. And I know he's actually came out and he had this big thing with Triple H about a year ago. He's actually kind of against that a little bit. Like, he doesn't like that the WWE wants that, so he probably won't like that I'm saying this. And I mean, no disrespect. Big CM Punk fan. I just think I think it would help a little.
I hear what you're saying, but away from the wrestling ring, he is in reality really big into martial arts. And just like we've seen time and time and time again, especially in the old school UFC before they had weight classes and all of that, these really undersized guys, and I'm not saying that he's undersized because Lord knows he's bigger than I am. I will give you that point. But the bottom line is, I legitimately think if it were a shoot fight, if you will, CM Punk could actually take down a guy like Mark Henry, a guy like The Big Show, a guy such as yourself, without question. That is why I think he makes a good champion, because it is an air of realism, and it plays to who he is as a person. Not CM Punk the character, but CM Punk the man.
You could be right if it was an actual, shoot fight, as you say, because I don't know what, Mark Henry's fighting background is or any of those other guys. I mean, there was a few times growing up where I'd start messing around with a wrestler, we'd kind of play fight a little bit, and I'd never wrestled. And this dude was like half my size and kicked my butt.
Yep.
So if you don't know how to fight, I mean, there's a difference. I'm just saying as far as the character and how it's, just how it's perceived. To me, it would be a little bit more realistic, whereas you think you like it this way because you think that makes it realistic. So, I guess we'll just agree that I'm right.
In your dreams. So I tell you what, why don't you tweet us at 4th and Pain? Do you think that it's okay for WWE to have a champion smaller in stature such as CM Punk, such as Daniel Bryan, or do they need the bigger guys to carry that belt just to help continue make pro wrestling that larger-than-life entertainment that it actually is? Tweet us at 4th and Pain. Let us know your thoughts. And, on the flip side, very, very special guest. You have, again, outdone yourself, Mr. Carriker.
I am completely excited. When I was growing up, there's 3 people in this world I wanted to meet. They're Grant Wistrom, who was a big-time defensive end at Nebraska, first-round pick at the Rams, won a Super Bowl there. I got the opportunity to meet him while I was in St. Louis. Tom Osborne, who coached in Nebraska for like 40 years, had the opportunity to meet him. And Bill Goldberg. I have the opportunity to talk and interview my favorite wrestler of all time, dude. How many people can say that they've met everyone they've ever wanted to meet? That is just awesome, and I can't wait to do this interview.
You are a blessed individual, and I'm blessed to be doing this show with you. Why? Because you make it happen. This is 4th and Pain. We'll be right back with Goldberg.
All right, well, that